Hello, my name is Kim Cruz, and this is my presentation on the interviews that I did with a principal, a special education teacher, and a paraeducator. The first question I asked was about their years of experience in their position. I think experience changes one's perspective on everything in work, and so I thought it was important to include this information. The principal that I interviewed is in her first year as a building administrator. She previously served as curriculum director for 3 years, and before that taught at various grade levels in the elementary setting. My special education teacher has 17 years of experience as an early childhood special education teacher, and the paraeducator is in her second year as a para. For child find procedures, the principal is in a 3rd through 6th grade building, so when she's looking at identifying students, she goes through the MTSS process with interventions and progress monitoring and what they call the student assistance team. When I ask about the early childhood side of that, she wasn't familiar as she doesn't deal with that on a daily basis. The paraeducator as well did not have any information on child find. She predominantly works with 5th and 6th grade students. The special education teacher knows quite a bit about it, and so they use the school social media, the Facebook page, as well as the local access channel to get out information on child find. They have flyers and pamphlets that they hand out to the county health departments, elementary students for any younger siblings, the PAT, which is Parents as Teachers program, as well as local doctor's offices. She is responsible for doing the initial screenings when someone contacts her on a child that's between the ages of 3 and 5. And if the screening comes up as needing a CompuVal, then she brings in the school psychologist at that time. Challenges in special education. The special educator felt like working with gen ed staff, and also the best practices for identifying students can be challenging. The paraeducator felt like student confidence, that the students lacked confidence and they lacked independence in their work. The principal's perspective on it was that managing staff and the special education teaching practices posed a challenge to her. The special education teachers don't have a curriculum that they follow to teach from, and coming from the curriculum background, she felt like that was a challenge. She wanted to make sure that all students made growth. Rewards is pretty much all three said that seeing the students make progress and growth was a definite reward for working with special needs students. The paraeducator really felt rewarded when the students thanked her for not giving up on them. The special educator and the principal also they had almost the same answers as each other. Working as a team was rewarding, and when they collaborate, as parents and teachers, when that goes well, that's a rewarding part of the process. In supervising of special education staff, the principal felt like her role was to supervise the SPED staff. You have to be knowledgeable of special education. She felt like educating herself on the procedures, the laws, as well as the cooperatives policies is important in doing a good job at supervising the SPED staff. For the special educator, she took it as supervising of paras that have worked under her, and training them up front was her primary thing that made supervising paras easier. She said that good training is time well spent. And for the paraeducator, she wanted respect from anyone that was supervising her. I got the feeling that she felt a little looked down upon being a paraeducator, and that the respect level wasn't the same for her as it was for, say, gen ed teachers. In working with parents and students, the principal I couldn't agree more with. She says that communication is key, and staying open-minded to parents and their issues and needs as they arise. The special education teacher felt like treating parents as the expert on their child, because they spend more time with their child than we do. Listening to them, again, that's that communication part. And then to helping the parents understand the importance of the techniques that she's trying to use, especially in that early childhood role where she goes into the home and does home visits. It's important to get buy-in from the parents. For the paraeducator, she had stated she doesn't work directly with parents. It's our policy through our cooperative that parents and paraeducators don't communicate about their student. It's a breach of confidentiality. If there's something that needs to be addressed, parents are referred back to the special education teacher. So she said that if there is an issue and a parent wants to talk to her, that they schedule a meeting with her direct supervisor. So working with general education teachers, the principal, she felt like her role is to build bridges between the staff. She has to meet the needs of all students, not just special education, so she feels like she's in the role to help mediate sometimes what is best for all. Between the general ed and the special ed teachers, she feels like she's the go-between sometimes. The special educator, she respects the general ed teacher's rules and respects the teacher. She collaborates on how to include her students. I know that right now she works with some significant needs students and working with gen ed on how to better include those students. And then help them understand where the students are developmentally so they can better accommodate and modify for those students. The paraeducator felt like she had to stay out of the gen ed teacher's way when they were teaching and let them teach their classes. She worries a lot about overstepping her bounds when it comes to being in the classroom for independence, or being in the classroom for inclusion, as she wants to make sure that her students stay independent but provide them the help that they need. I felt like all three, respect was an underlying theme. I felt like the paraeducator didn't exactly know her role in the inclusion classes, and that would be a good place for building principal to step in and better define those roles and help the paraeducator understand and help the special education teacher understand and be that bridge between general ed and special education. Advice for the first-year administrator. The principal had some really good advice to be open to learning new things. Going in as a first-year administrator, she said, find a mentor if the school doesn't provide you one, and seek out advice when you're unsure of things. She said that she's had to learn a lot and has to do that on her own sometimes, so finding a mentor is a really good bit of advice. As for the paraeducator, she would like to see administrator listen to the special ed staff and trust and respect the special ed staff the same way as the gen ed staff. There was an underlying tone with the paraeducator. I got the feeling that she maybe wasn't as happy with the leadership in the building where she is. And And I don't know if that comes from lack of communication, but she didn't say it outright, but in the responses to the questions, she struggled with some of those. The special education teacher, again, that trust of staff, learn what and why they do what they do. General ed doesn't always understand what special ed is doing and why they're doing it. And again, it goes back to learning new things and stepping outside of our box to understand what another staff member is doing. And then she'd made the comment to understand situations before making a judgment, maybe getting both sides before making a call one way or the other. The roles of the teacher and principal. The principal felt like her role was to lead staff to develop instruction, improve behavior management, and in collaboration. She would like to see herself as a resource for staff. She sees the special education teacher's role is to provide instruction and improve behaviors and work with all staff. The paraeducator kind of lumped the roles together, work together on what is best for individual students, understand what student needs are, and understand that SPED students can't always be compared to their peers. As the paraeducator is under the supervision of both the special education teacher and the principal, she's lumped those roles together. The special education teacher looks as her role and the principal's role as parts of a team. The special educator provides the special part of teaching the student, and the principal ensures that the student is being helped towards set outcomes, either individual set outcomes or those set forth for the classroom, or both. Good characteristics of an aspiring administrator. The principal, in terms of special education, knowledge about the law, willing to learn, ability to work as a team, and flexibility. The special education teacher felt like good characteristics would be fair-minded and objective, a strong leader and not afraid to take a stand, compassionate towards students and staff obstacles, understanding both sides of an obstacle, she felt would make an administrator easy to work with, and someone who can listen and provide suggestions. She would like her administrators to be someone that she can go and vent to and have an understanding ear and be a good listener. The paraeducator would like to see them have a background in special education and to trust the trust for staff to do what is best for students. She, again, reoccurring theme is the trust for staff. So overall, the special ed staff, the theme that ran through a lot of the answers was trust and understanding of what they're doing. I got the feeling that in some instances there wasn't always support from the building administrators, and I think that comes from, we have a co-op system where the special education staff doesn't work directly for the building administrator, so there's a dual supervision there. The building principal is the direct supervisor, but there's also another layer to supervision through our administration, through the co-op. And so in some instances there's your student, our students, and the special ed staff felt like they weren't always accepted and respected the same as the gen ed staff that works directly for the district. The principal, kind of a reoccurring theme with her answers was that make sure to learn a lot and continue to learn throughout your career, because things change, and to seek out and know when you don't know something and go forward from there. So thank you for your time.